Once this forest buzzed with life. Wings fluttered in dizzying spirals. The hum of bees, a chorus of cicadas, the erratic dances of butterflies, all played together in nature's ancient soundtrack. But today, there's something missing. Something almost too quiet, too still. This is Costa Rica's Guanacaste Conservation Area, one of Earth's most biodiverse protected forests. But now, even here, even in paradise, insects are disappearing. Not just a few, but by the billions. World-renowned ecologists Daniel Janzen and Winnie Hallwachs have walked the forests of Costa Rica's Area de Conservation Guanacaste for over 4 decades. Day after day, year after year, they track the rhythms of life, from the flutter of moth wings to the hum of beetles, the chaos of ant trails, and the hypnotic buzz of cicadas at dusk. These were once forests alive with motion, where clouds of insects drifted like low-flying mist through the canopy, and the night glowed with a symphony of wings and bioluminescence. But in recent years, something has changed. Something quiet and terrifying. They returned to the same trails, set the same traps, and monitored the same trees. But now, their nets often come back empty. The lights they hang to attract moths flicker through stillness. Species they once cataloged in abundance, 100 per night, have all but vanished. It's like someone hit mute on the forest. Janzen once said, "You don't need a degree in biology to feel the silence." And it's not just Costa Rica. Around the world, data echoes their fears. A 2017 landmark study in Germany's protected nature reserves found a 75% decline in flying insect biomass over just 27 years. In the U.S., long-term surveys show beetle populations have dropped by 83% in under half a century. These aren't just numbers. They are ruptures in the biological scaffolding of life on Earth. Insects pollinate 75% of our food crops. They feed birds, reptiles, and mammals. They decompose waste, fertilize forests, and shape ecosystems. Without them, the natural world begins to unravel. Climate change is now a primary suspect. Shifting rainfall patterns and longer dry seasons have altered the fragile timings of reproduction and migration. The rain that used to signal the emergence of certain insects now arrives too late, or not at all. Larvae dry out in their cocoons. Leaf litter doesn't decay. Predators go hungry, and the chain reaction begins. But it's not just the climate. Deforestation, pesticide use, light pollution, and urban expansion have created a perfect storm of pressures. Janzen and Hallwachs are among the few who have borne witness to this slow disappearance with their own eyes. We used to have to wear bug nets just to walk these trails, Hallwachs recalled in a recent interview. Now, we can go for hours without swatting a single insect. This vanishing is not dramatic or explosive. It's slow, subtle, and all the more dangerous because of it. It's not just a loss of individual species, but the collapse of entire ecological networks. A silent forest is not a healthy forest. It's a warning, a whisper from the earth that something is deeply wrong. And this isn't an isolated phenomenon. Across the globe, insects, the tiny engineers of our ecosystems, are in crisis. In Germany, a 30-year study found a 75% drop in flying insect biomass. In the U.S., beetle numbers have fallen by 83% over 45 years. Insects once considered annoyances, the buzzing, biting, creeping hordes, are now echoing like ghosts in the landscapes they once ruled. This is not just a biodiversity loss. It's an ecological unraveling, because insects aren't optional. They are foundational, the pollinators of crops, the recyclers of waste, the base of countless food chains. Without them, the systems that feed us, clean our air, and regulate life begin to collapse. So, what's causing the silent catastrophe? The culprits are many, but one looms largest: climate change. Rainfall patterns are shifting. Dry seasons are lengthening. Temperature extremes are becoming routine. And for insects who are hypersensitive to moisture and temperature, this is deadly. Insects aren't just small. They're vulnerable. They live fast, reproduce faster, and respond immediately to environmental changes. Their disappearance is a flashing warning light on the dashboard of our planet. But the story doesn't stop with climate. There's habitat loss, pesticides, urban sprawl, light pollution, air pollution, invasive species, all converging like a slow-motion tsunami. And in reserves like Guanacast, even protected by law, insects are still dying off. Why? Because a fence can't stop the climate. A border can't hold back the wind. Even the most isolated ecosystems are connected to the world, and the world is warming. Scientists like Janzen and Hallwachs are sounding the alarm, but will we listen? Because the stakes are higher than they seem. No insects means no pollination, no seeds, no regeneration, no food, and it doesn't stop with flowers. The collapse echoes outward in shock waves. Entire ecosystems begin to starve. Birds that once hunted mid-flight now circle empty skies. Bats, spiders, reptiles, their prey vanishes. Mammals, including us, begin to feel the emptiness too. Because what starts with insects ends with everything. Picture it. Mango trees standing heavy with blossoms and never bearing fruit. Coffee plants flowering with promise, only to fade untouched. Cocoa pods shriveling on the vine. A world without mangoes, without coffee, without chocolate. It sounds like science fiction, but it's not. It's a future that scientists say is increasingly likely and dangerously close. Insects pollinate more than 75% of global food crops, including most fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Almonds, apples, avocados, tomatoes. The humblebee alone contributes an estimated $577 billion annually to global food production. Yet honeybee colonies continue to collapse under the pressure of habitat loss, parasites, and climate disruption. Wild pollinators, butterflies, moths, flies, beetles, are faring even worse, with entire populations blinking out before we can even name them. And it's not just about food. Insects maintain the health of soils. They break down waste. They recycle nutrients. They form the base of the food web. Remove them, and you don't just get hungry, you get collapse. Imagine forests flowering in silence. Meadows once humming with bees now eerily still. Trees blooming without purpose, dropping their petals to the ground, unfertilized. That is not nature. That is a ghost of nature. This is not alarmism. This is data. Peer-reviewed, replicated, and measured in declining trap counts, empty light sheets, and silent nights in places that once pulsed with life. It is a slow, invisible unraveling of systems we thought were eternal. And yet, here we are, standing on the edge of it, still with time to act. But here's the truth. It's not too late. There's still time to act. But the window is closing fast. We must rethink agriculture. Move away from blanket pesticide use. Restore native habitats. Protect pollinators. And most importantly, tackle climate change with real urgency. Because every time we choose sustainability, every time we plant a wildflower, reduce our emissions, support organic farming, we stitch a thread back into the web of life. This isn't just about saving insects. It's about saving ourselves. The silence can still be reversed. We can bring back the buzz, the hum, the fluttering pulse of life. But only if we act now. Because when the smallest lives vanish, the whole earth holds its breath. Not just the forests, but the rivers, the skies, the very soil waits in uneasy silence. The chorus of wings, the whisper of antennae brushing leaves, the soft patter of beetle legs over bark, gone. Insects are not just life, they are motion, pollination, decay, rebirth, They are Earth's breath. Without them, birds stop singing, not out of sorrow, but hunger. Frogs croak less in moonlit swamps. Bats fly in widening circles, looking for prey that isn't there. Even the trees sense the stillness. Fruit ripens and falls uneaten. Seeds go unspread. The earth begins to lose its rhythm. It forgets its own song. And when they return, the first glow of a firefly, the shimmer of a dragonfly over a still pond, the rise and fall of wings at dusk. Suddenly, the world exhales. Slowly, gently, it begins to hum again. The flowers reopen. The food webs reconnect. Birds return to nest with mouths full. The silence cracks, not with noise, but with life. Because when insects come back, the earth sings again. Not loudly, not all at once, but unmistakably. It is a song of resilience, a hymn of recovery, a second chance, and it begins with the tiniest wings. If this story moved you, subscribe to Earthscape Visuals, where we bring you the truths that matter most about the hidden systems that sustain our world. Backhand index pointing right, like, comment, and share this video with someone who still thinks insects don't matter. Because the future depends on whether we notice what's missing before it's too late.